was terrifying because I had no clue if it would work. And,
amazing.
You know, I was sat in Madrid rocking in a chair waiting for 9, thinking I'm either going to be running out of this place and hiding in a different country.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I am great. It's brilliant to see you.
But you've got no clue who I am.
Well,
I got taken under the wing of probably the most successful live band currently touring this planet.
Coldplay.
I didn't say a word.
I think I know who you are.
Can I go first? Oh,
Yeah, go on.
Is it to do with things you wear on your wrist?
It might be.
Are you the inventor of the flashing wristband as
I am,
used
sir.
brilliantly by
Wow! Look at that.
Well, you are very clever then.
Is it called a Xyloband?
It is indeed, sir. And that came from, obviously, Milo Zalotto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had some crap names, to be fair. Chris came up with some really crap names. So there was another person involved called Phil Harvey. He's the 5th member of Coldplay. I don't know if you've ever met the band and Phil, but he was the one that kind of took this on and bonkersly said, yeah, let's do this. This is crazy, but let's do this. This is a great idea. And kind of,
genius.
My friend used to work with Coldplay for a long time, and we've spoken about you because we were at a Coldplay gig and we had wristbands, and my friend who used to work with the band said, you know, one guy who's responsible for these wristbands. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, well, you invented them.
It's Jason.
Yeah, so the story, I'm a creative, so I'll really try and unravel this really, really, really quickly. So I worked for my father for 17 years as a mechanic, grease monkey, and there was always a creative thing going on there. So decided to break away, do my own thing. And this is where the funny bit comes, because I started designing products, and the first area I went into designing products was adult toys. Of a nature, yes. So,
Dom, that's how you recognised him.
So nothing really gratuitous or phallic or kind of just more subtle, nice stuff that, you know,
Sure.
Then I went into kids' toys. And
well, of course you would. Of course, that's
No, but you had to move away. The playground got a very funny place to go at school when you're in that industry and things get twisted. And so I went into kids' toys, and we had a really successful platform of technology launched, and everything was great. And then Lehman Brown decided to go and implode and kick my business, like every other business, into the gutter. So, and I'd had the idea for the wristband and put it away. Ideas are great things, and until you've got to find somewhere to park it or get it in front of somebody, like a song, like anything, a film idea. You've got to get it in front of the right person and then to grab it. So I had this idea, I parked it. And then I went through a breakup. Me and my son, we wanted to do some feel-good stuff, me and Dad. So we're going to go to a Coldplay concert. Sod it. There's a crisis charity gig. Let's bid for a ticket, 1,200 quid for 2 tickets, meet and greet Coldplay. Happy days.
Brilliant. So, I didn't know that.
Well, this is the thing. So this was in December 2010. And the weather was not great. So we were all ready to go from Bristol to Newcastle on a flight, and got up on the morning of the event, and there was about 2 feet of snow on the drive.
Oh, no.
So it all went peak-tong wrong. We didn't get there. My son was absolutely devastated. And I thought as a dad, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? So I wrote to Crisis and said, look, I don't want the money back. That's fine. I donated. I'm happy with that. Is there another opportunity or, something in the future that we could probably attend or come to, just because my son's so upset? I never heard nothing for 2 days. And then I got an email from a guy called Phil Harvey to say, thank you for your generous donation. We really appreciate what you did, and sorry that your son missed the gig. Would you like to come up to the album launch gig at, and be a guest at Coldplay in Kentish?
Oh, lovely.
And my brain sort of went then, the doors just opened for that idea. So, and I sort of then went into, well, I'm an ideas guy and I've got this sort of idea. It's this da-da-da-da-da-da, and, I think it'd be really cool and I could bring something up to show you if that was at all okay. And that's what I did. I took an LED dog collar
Wow.
Basically. And that's how I sold the idea. I got a load of LED dog collars and I went to a local, almost the space that's a golf course. And I put loads of sugar canes in this space, hundreds of them. And I hung an LED dog collar on each of those things, waited till it got dark. Then I set them all off and they're all twinkling, doing these beautiful things. Mix them, every teardrop is a waterfall over the top. Send it to Coldplay. There's your idea, Chris. What do you think?
Wow.
That's amazing. So they were made specifically for Coldplay.
Yeah, it was always, yeah, I went through a little bit of a dark period and I remember getting a little bit sauced up and kind of wandering around and hating the world and everything's wrong and life's a bit, all those stuff.
Yeah.
And then I can remember, I think it was BBC Two, and now we're going to go over to Coldplay. Yeah, it was a rehash or a sort of thing of Coldplay. Glastonbury, 2005.
Right.
I just flicked that on. I thought, sod it, might change the mood. And so they came on, and the first track was a track called Square One.
Yeah.
And for the record, for me, it's a phenomenal track. Chris hates it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great track.
Chris doesn't like it, but Square One has everything. It has guitar, it has bass, it has vocal, it has piano, it just has for me.
I'm getting the feeling you're a fan.
Yeah, I was, but that's another thing. I have a separation fan thing now where I go up to MX and forward, I'm a different fan, and back from MX. Before I was with Coldplay, and if I'm honest, I like the older stuff more than I do perhaps the progressive modern stuff.
Go, you'll lose the gig, for God's sake, man.
So, there's a lot of sort of fate involved in the kind of journey and how it happened. And it was very quick. 3 months, I had to produce something, which is unheard of. If you went to somebody and said, make a wristband, it flashes and take it around the world on a tour in 3 months, they'd say you were crazy.
I would imagine the first wristbands you ever made can't have been cheap to make.
Well, that was another nightmare. Not nightmare, it was a great thing because Chris was very insistent. I want this now. So it went from, what happened was we presented it and Chris liked it, but then I got a phone call to say, we're just so busy trying to finish this album and there's so much going on and, I don't know if we can do this. So the first kind of response was a bit kind of not sure. And I said, look, don't worry about it. My break will come, my luck will come. It's all good. Love you still, thank you for all you've done. Good luck with the tour. And I left it at that. And then 3 days later, the phone rang. And it was Phil Harvey again. He said, you know what, Chris can't stop thinking about this. And he's not going to let it go. And you've got to do this, Jason. So that was that. We set to work. And the first time we did it was in Madrid in a bull ring. And it was terrifying because he was insistent he had something for that. Well, what can we do? So I came up with an idea that we have like a watch, like an alarm clock. So we had a watch that counted down to a specific time, 9 o'clock, okay? They will all go off at 9 o'clock. So we had to script the whole gig.
Wow.
And when they went on stage and played the first note, and it was terrifying because I had no clue if it would work. And,
yeah, amazing.
I was sat in Madrid rocking in a chair waiting for 9, thinking I'm either going to be running out of this place and hiding in a different country.
What was the first song? What were they playing at 9 o'clock?
It was MX. It was the first, and it's a beautiful, I think it's one of the most beautiful Coldplay intros. MX, Milo Zoloto, that was just so pretty.
How many wristbands did you have to make for the Madrid gig?
Ooh, I can't think, it was like 16,000, but it was so last minute. It turned up in London, I think the night before, so we had to put it in a van and drive it from London all the way to Madrid. Then we had Coldplay people, management trying to prepare these things, rushing around trying to get them out. It was absolutely bonkers. And
really. did you you don't have to answer this, but did you have to pay for it, or did they go, look, how much?
No, they paid for it. Okay, it was very. And then we did a first run of the tour for the Europe. So they do normally do a pre sort of run and then the tour goes. So we did a pre-Europe thing, and they were really expensive, just purely because of the time they had and what needed to be done in the time we had. Yeah. And ironically, the guy that we went to that made them was a guy called Peter Bourne. Peter Bourne was a.k.a. James Bourne, of Busted's dad. So,
really?
Yep. So, he ended up making the first expensive rev of wristbands, so they had something obviously for the first part of the tour.
So you made 16,000 for Madrid. Now I've been to many Coldplay gigs, and the one it's now become a part of the show.
It is very
these
much,
wristbands.
Yeah.
But the other thing is people want to take them home because A, they want the souvenir, and B, they think it's going to work when they get home. But But after Madrid, are you all not there going, can I have them back, please? I need them back, please.
It was a blur for me. I'd never done anything like that. So it was very, very kind of surreal. I went back to the hotel room afterwards, and I'd not seen anyone and kind of spoke to anyone much, and sat in this room and just shook my head and thought, what just happened? I think the most defining moment was when it was on the X Factor final, back in 2011 that was. And I think that was when it genuinely kicked off. And I took the most joy, if I'm honest, because I could see the band were just absolutely ecstatic. You know, Will, the drummer, never smiles, but he was smiling like a... No, he does smile. That's unfair. He does smile. But
They are. Honestly, it's such an exciting thing. The last time I went to see Coldplay, we didn't get wristbands. And we were a little bit miffed.
Yeah.
And there were people around us with wristbands, and we were like, and somebody said to me, "Chris, where's our wristbands?" And I went, "They didn't give us any. They didn't." And they're like, "Well, how come everyone else has got them?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry." And everyone was a bit, "Oh, I didn't get the wristbands." Are you still doing them?
Yeah, no, we don't. So we handed over. Coldplay do it in a kind of their own way now. I did 2 tours. You get to a point where there was a few things going on. COVID destroyed the supply chain, so we're dependent on the components and stuff. We had a really big issue over COVID with supply chain. The other thing is, you get to a point where do you go next with it? You know, do you want a new chat? Yeah, there were just some variables in there. We still talk. They're still my best friend. Yeah, they're still very wonderful to me. We still got new ideas. I've still got stuff that we're going to bring to music. I think the Coldplay wristband thing is great and it's there, but we need to reinvent. We need to come up with the next one.
If you ever want to move back to the adult toys, I mean, Dominic might be able
to. Let's talk, Jason.
I missed the opportunity there, and one of the funny stories was that Chris knew this. I mean, he told the Sun newspaper. I mean, I got away from it, and then the next day I see Sun headline: Coldplay employed sex toy inventor, and I'm like,
that's a gift, isn't it? Yeah,
mate. Well, listen. Well, Jason, thanks
for coming on, Jason,
and thanks for making up. It's
changed live music on that scale massively. I think it really.
That's all we wanted to do. You know, my vision at the time was unity. Switch off, forget everything. Just have a good time, even if it's 20 minutes, half an hour, an hour. You know, that's all it's about. Everybody get together. There's too much division in. People just need to get along, have fun, love each other, and just embrace the moment. You know, That's all about creating moments and memories. You know, and I hope we've done that.
Well, listen, I've got some great photos from Coldplay gigs back in the day. So probably that tour, in fact. So thank you very much. It's so much fun.
Well, I will say as an irony, I always used to listen to you, watch you a lot, Chris. So it's great for me as well, because this whole cycle of where I've ended up and who I get to meet and bucket lists and stuff like that. So it's been a pleasure as well. So I mean that, genuinely.
Well, bless you. Thank you. I probably, in a drawer somewhere, got one of the first wristbands, maybe even from that tour, thinking, oh, this would be great. I'll take this home. And
mine was flashing for a week after the gig. I remember it. It was in our bathroom. It was amazing.
You were flashing in your bathroom for a week?
The wristband.
You two really should go for a coffee.
You need to get out a bit more. Thank you for having me, guys.
Lovely having you on. All the best, Jason.
Radio X.